Hey everybody, and on this week's podcast show, Stephen and I will be giving our uncensored thoughts on the Apple Far Out event, which was aired on the 7th of September. There was some usual updates and some interesting announcements. So let's get right into it. Stephen, what's your thoughts on the actual event?
Oh, was this a new event? I thought it looked like last year's event, to be perfectly honest. But, you know, we're going to talk about a few things, but one of the things that really stuck out for me was how Apple has gone after the Pro market for watches. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Yeah. And something about satellites, which we'll definitely get into in a little bit. You know, it's very interesting what they've done. And what's funny is that they've really taken the piss out of Samsung on one small thing, and that's the fact that Samsung couldn't figure out what to do with their temperature monitor on their watch. Well, Apple's figured that out. So let's Winston, you're leading this conversation. Let's go right into it.
All right. Well, it seems that Apple tends to have these events around September of each year. And usually there's, new announcements, new products during this event. So Apple have, let's see what Apple have got in store for us this time. With the usual updates on the iPhones and, of course, something new and exciting. Can they steal the limelight from Samsung's recent Unpacked event, which proved to be hugely successful? I'm thinking, the usual iPhone, not by choice. I mean, I'm using my iPhone myself because I used to work for GE and they provide company phones. iPhone was one of them. I later bought the iPhone 13 Pro, that was last year, for several reasons, mainly because of security features, especially if you're using handling cryptos. So that's one main thing. Security and all that. But that said, I'm a little bit frustrated with Apple's lack of innovative features. I mean, if you look at Samsung's Android phones, you got the Galaxy Z Flip 4 with the foldables and things like that. Which at the end of the day, what has Apple have to offer? So we'll take a closer look at the iPhone 14, and here we go. Some of the features that they have. What do you think of the iPhone 14 right off the bat? What do you think?
Well, I think that what they mentioned about the increased performance of the processor, they directly also mentioned that they improved the cooling. So in the iPhone 14 base model and also the iPhone 14 Plus, which is the larger 6.7 inch, almost the size of an iPad mini, I believe that what they've done by improving the cooling mechanism inside, they were just able to overclock it. I mean, they mentioned that an 18% performance increase, that can be done by overclocking with proper cooling. So they have improved that. So this is what it sounds to me that they've done on the bottom end.
Yeah, I mean,
Flat out.
I mean, I already own the 13 Pro, and I love the improved camera and the cinematic modes and things. And of course, the usual, the notch at the top, which is kind of funny anyway. But what I don't like about the iPhone 13 Pro at the time was the lack of the Touch ID, which I actually liked. Yeah. Still no foldables, and but for the new iPhone 14, 6.1 usual, same as the iPhone 13 Pro. It has the ceramic shield for your screen, right?
Yes.
And but if you look at they have two models or two series. The 14 Pro and the Pro Max. So we'll talk about the 14 because the 14 has the same chip as the 13 Pro, which is the A15 with the 6-core CPU and 5-core GPU and a 16-core neural engine, they call it. 6.1-inch screen, and they have the 14 Plus, which is a bigger screen, 6.7 Pro, 6.7
It's
inch.
getting big.
So it's the same phone.
Like that's It's 0.3 inches less than an iPad mini. Yeah. Think about that for a second.
Okay, true.
Right? So instead of innovating, making their phones fold, they've just made them bigger. Now, after using something like this, I cannot put a big phone in my pocket anymore. Like I've literally conditioned myself to not accept anything bigger than this size.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for me to
It is big because, I mean,
that.
This is a 6.1. This is the 13 Pro, which I had from last year. And this is without the case, by the way. So if I put the case on and put it in my pocket, it just bulges out. and if you especially if you're sitting in a car or train or bus, whatever, it's uncomfortable actually.
Yeah, like here's a pair of sunglasses. Here's my phone.
Oh, yeah, it's tiny.
That's your. You have a pair of sunglasses over there.
There you go. Hey, mate, there you go. Mine's actually broken. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So, pair of sunglasses, right? Compared to your phone, right? It's a difference. Yeah. It's a big difference.
It's a big difference. Yeah. So, but they've improved on the camera. So there's a new 12 megapixel camera for the front and the back, and a larger sensor as well. So you get a
larger pixels. Yep.
Yeah, and you get same thing with the low light improvement, and also a faster aperture. They got 49% improvement in low light. They got this new thing called Photonic Engine for image processing. So you get a load of photos. You can they combine it together, get you a nice photo and so on.
So like HDR.
Yeah, they call it then Photonic
right?
Engine, right?
I have some problems with this processing, and I don't know. Some people might not, because it just gives you the chance to make better images out of the phone, which is the purpose of having a phone, because most of the time you don't have to do anything to the image and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So, but for purists, which is what they're kind of going after, like they're Apple RAW and all this processing. If someone wants to manipulate their image by themselves, does this erase that? Because Apple RAW itself, you can manipulate that image, but sometimes you just want to make a little tweak to the JPEG because it's already okay. I don't know how this is going to affect that. So
yeah,
because you know how JPEGs degrade every time you save them.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Well, they trying to get you into that ecosystem, the Pro RAW and all that kind of stuff with the new cameras and things like that. So
yeah,
they're trying to close you off into their own ecosystem. That's what they're trying to do, I think.
So true.
Yeah. There's action mode for video. So now have better stable kind of image stabilization there. And I quite like that, actually. That's especially if you're going out, moving around, doing some action footage. So they give you a nice, smoother kind of footage there. But also the big thing was no SIM tray. Now it's all eSIM. Right.
Oh, that's a huge deal. They're removing. Okay,
tell us.
Apple has removed the latest thing that Apple has removed.
Yeah.
Besides the headphone jack, besides the charger in the box, is now the SIM tray.
The SIM tray. No SIM tray.
Is this better for the environment? Maybe. Actually, SIM cards actually have a bit of gold on them. They also use plastic, so getting rid of all that, might not be a bad thing. It also reduces manufacturing cost.
It does, yeah, it does.
I don't know. Like, I'm kind of torn on that, because it's not such a bad way to go. I honestly believe that removing parts that way is a good thing, because eSIMs are so much more convenient for people to transfer their phone, get a new service provider without waiting for a physical SIM card to be switched in.
Yeah.
So I kind of like those value-added convenience benefits. But on the downside, is this like another attempt to remove the charger? Because we know that in Brazil, they're actually suing Apple for removing the charger as anti-competitive, anti-consumer.
Right. The only thing is with that now, what I find with the new iPhone package is that they'll give you the lightning cable, but it's now USB-C only, right, on the other end. So you're like,
so how are you going to use that now?
I had to buy a new charger. I had to buy a new charger with that supports USB-C on the actual, that goes into the wall mount, that little charging unit, because most of them come with USB-A, right? So I had to,
because you remember that I was complaining about that with the Samsung Watch 5 series. They were including these pucks that had the Qi charging on one side, but it was only USB-C on the other.
Oh yeah.
Not USB-A, which is in everything. So a lot of countertops in North America, they all have USB-A integrated into the outlets. Same as cafes and everything like that. Like, what are you going to do now? Like, what are you going to do?
I actually seen a converter you can actually buy. It's USB-C to
like
USB-A.
these tiny little computers.
So what's the point?
But you're going to lose that. I know I've lost mine already. My USB-A to USB-C converter, I've lost. Oh, God. I've lost them because they're like this small.
That's stupid, right?
It is kind of dumb.
Yeah,
it's kind of dumb.
Or what they should have done is like what you get, I find in Hong Kong, but also in other accessory stores, is one of those cables that splits into 3 different heads. You seen them?
Yes.
Yeah. That would be more innovative. Here you go.
It would be. It would also require resistors so that it doesn't go on fire or burn you in the middle of the night. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's little pros and cons and issues
true.
with stuff like that as well too, as we figured out in the past,
Yeah.
right?
And
So what else do we like about
the eSIM also, a good thing about that is you have multiple options. So in other words, I mean, it's not just one eSIM, that's it. They give you, I think maybe up to 3 eSIM.
They didn't mention it specifically, but it's more than one.
More than one.
That's
I know
for
that
sure.
it's more than one.
Yeah.
So you can have multiple carriers if you need it. Okay, moving on to the next part is crash detection. That's the new thing. So
Yeah.
it supports, I think it says detects up to G-forces of 255 Gs or 56 Gs.
255, 256 Gs. That's a lot of force. But at the same time, though, if you rage quit and you throw your phone, is that not the same?
That's
how
similar,
do you
yeah.
how do you factor in those false negatives? I know they have a barometer in here to actually measure the airbag deploying.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
Like what if you were on a motorcycle?
Yeah, or you drop your phone.
What if you were in an antique car with no airbags?
Yeah, it's true.
How does that work?
I have no idea, but they've actually did some like AI testing stuff like that with like hundreds of hours of data, and they compiled it into this thing. So yeah, it's a new gyroscope, new accelerometer and stuff like that, so that it can give you that crash detection. So, and it's supposed to auto dial SOS 911 emergency services and stuff like that. So, interesting.
I hope that they've tested it really well, because all the false
yeah, I think you turn it on or off.
Our call centers.
I'm sure.
It sounds like it's built in. It sounds like you have the ability to make some changes, but our call centers are overwhelmed.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
especially with COVID, right?
You know?
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
And the other thing is the new feature is the SOS via satellite. So but the thing is, you have to point the phone towards where the satellite is, and they got this app.
That's a very interesting feature. And I did some research here recently, and I looked at how much data plans and also phone plans cost for satellite phones. So right off the bat, Apple is piggybacking off some satellite network. They're giving you 2 years free.
2 years free
with the purchase of the iPhone 14 only currently.
Yeah.
So just for academics, I found Iridium, which is one of the largest global satellite phone providers. And with a 3-month postpaid plan, you can get 50 megabytes of data for about $500.
Okay, that's not a lot.
No, if you want a 1-year talking plan, it has no data. You would pay $900 for the year for 500 minutes.
Right.
So somewhere in between is the truth of what Apple is trying to figure out. But this sounds like it's only text only, which means it uses data.
Text only, yeah. So it's like simple text, like I'm in emergency, blah blah blah. Are you hurt? Yes. How many people you? Things like that. So it's like short text messages that they send to the emergency services. Now, the other thing about the satellite thing is, are they using kind of satellites that they own, or a Starlink, or what kind of satellites are they using? That's the thing.
I don't think it's Starlink, because they mentioned that it's synchronous orbit, so it spins around. Otherwise they would have shown the right satellites, because the Elon satellites run in trains.
Oh yeah.
What they showed was a single communication satellite, and it was larger one. So it looks like they're using the conventional network. Again, because of the the world is a little bit more covered in broadband these days. Satellite providers are finding reasons for their satellites to continue to stay in orbit. So I have a feeling, because of the pricing that we've just gathered here, that Apple has somehow either A, partnered with a company or bailed them out in some way to keep their satellite up there, or B, some satellite company just wants to stay afloat, and they partnered with Apple, non-disclosure, to keep their satellite and their services running for the bare minimum price that they can afford to. So having all of these iPhones and everything on the service will probably keep their service up for a long time. And I don't know how much they're paying per unit, but every time that Apple releases a phone, it's a few million units they're going up. So even if they charge 50 cents per unit, it's still a good amount of money that this company's getting.
That's true. Oh, well, satellite, you never know. We might have a Starlink satellite phone. So that'll be interesting.
They talked about that, actually. Elon Musk has already partnered with T-Mobile. So it's looking like potentially maybe that the iPhone might be setting itself up to, and they mentioned T-Mobile as a partner for some of the services that they're doing. So it's potentially setting the iPhone up to be a possible carrier partner for that service whenever the hell it launches.
Well, the iPhone 14 is what it's all about. But let's have a look at the price. $799. Pre-orders September the 9th, available September the 16th. And for the largest 6.7 inch, we got better battery life because of bigger the phone. $899 for the larger screen. Same thing, pre-orders 9th of September and available on October the 7th for the largest size. Now, moving on to the iPhone 14 Pro. So, of course, you have the Pro versions now. New A16 Bionic 4nm chip. 16 billion transistors.
So very similar. Yeah, very similar to what our friends at Qualcomm have put together.
Yeah,
for nanometers where everyone's at.
Yeah, same 6-core CPU, 2 high-performance cores, 4 efficiency cores, and then 5 GPU cores, 16 neural engine cores and stuff like that. Screen size 6.1 inch for the standard Pro, and the Pro Max 6.7 inch. Same thing. They have a new notch on the camera.
Yes.
On the phone.
What did they call it? What's the ridiculous name this time?
Dynamic Island. Right, okay. Let me show you my iPhone 13
Only Apple could
Pro.
do that.
Okay. So this is my iPhone 13 Pro. You can see that
that's your dynamic
the
island.
Notch, right? That's not the dynamic.
Non-dynamic island.
Non-dynamic.
Not
so
very
the dynamic is, it kind of like hovers a bit lower onto the screen. And it's supposed to have like notifications that kind of comes out. Like it expands out and then closes. But it doesn't, if you look at the normal notifications on your iPhone previous to this one, it just comes up in blocks and it covers the whole screen. But this one just goes, expands and then closes, and it's touchable as well, and you can do all sorts of features in that. So there's notch. What do you expect? What do you think, Steve?
I think they're to be perfectly honest for you, no, I don't think a lot of people love the notch to begin with.
Yeah.
So all they've done is basically taken a problem and turned it into something that points out the problem more prominently. So they're hiding the problem in plain sight, but they're trying to make it somewhat useful so that people don't foresee it as a problem. It's a feature.
It's
now.
a new feature.
The problem is a feature.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you though. Samsung has done a really innovative thing with the Fold 4, where they actually hide the camera behind the LCD. Now, I know that there's some pros and cons with that, but that seems a lot more innovative than trying to make something that looks like an issue into less of an issue by hiding it in plain sight and decorating it.
Yeah, I think
right?
The notch was mostly for because it had a load of sensors in the front, right? Like the Face ID and all that kind of sensors, stuff like that. So there's no, well, that doesn't say there's no way you can actually hide it, but they could have done something a little bit better to make it more not like an eyesore, right? So
yeah, like it maybe that is a technical reason why they couldn't just cover it with an LCD screen like Samsung did, like Samsung innovated around by making the pattern so that the camera itself could actually detect that pattern and remove it. So maybe that's something that could not be done with the other sensors, like the proximity sensor and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's possible, right? But it's kind of weird that they made the thing that people didn't want on their phones just bigger. it's like, hey, I've got a zit. I'm going to scratch at it and make it just a little bit bigger. Since I have the zit anyway, I might as well make it as big as possible,
and you can
so that everyone knows it's there.
And you can put a little bit of makeup around it, make it look prettier, put a bit of face paint on there.
Yeah, it's like, you remember when Nelly, he had the bandage on his face?
Yeah.
Maybe
rapper,
he cut his face and, let's just leave that there because it's like, it's his brand now.
Yeah, well, apparently there was a story behind it. There was something to do with his brother in prison. He's just like left it there, and and the day that he leaves prison, then he peels it off. Apparently, that was the rule anyway. Well, yeah, the new dynamic island. Well, I don't know what the hell they call it that, but moving on,
it's a very Apple thing.
Isn't it? Yeah,
to name it, right? Dynamic island. It's like a good thing.
It is a good
why
thing.
would I want to live on an island? I want to live with people. Can I not live with people?
All right, so the screen now has 1600 nits brightness and up
That's very
to
bright.
2000 nits on a
Yeah.
sunny day. So that's pretty cool for daytime photography and daylight photography and stuff like that.
Absolutely. 2000 is enough.
Yeah, and the other thing is they have this. Normally, if you look at most of the gaming phones up there, like the ROG gaming one, the Razer one, and I think the Samsung, the screen refresh rate is really high, up to like 120 hertz,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Apple goes the other way, and does 1 hertz.
yeah. Down to 1 hertz, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, down to 1 hertz. Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second there. They actually have an always-on display. So basically, to explain it, what they've done is they've used an LPTO display with an OLED display together. So the OLED is obviously what you see most of the time when it's in operation. The LPTO, low power or something, whatever it's called, it's very much like what some watch manufacturers are doing with their smartwatches. So they have the OLED underneath, and then they have a display on top that is actually much lower power that runs all the time. However, it looks like what Apple has done is that even with wallpapers behind it, they've managed to be able to create a sandwich display that is able to maintain the color and fidelity of that image despite dimming, which is quite difficult to do, but it's not really all that new technology. Like I have this cheap.
It's like those LCD crystal
This watch.
display for what do you call them? Those books, what do they call them?
Ebooks,
E-books,
like e-ink.
E-ink, yeah. Similar to that,
Yeah,
right?
this is more advanced.
More advanced.
Like this is way more advanced because it shows the color of the wallpaper. That wasn't sacrificed.
Yeah.
So it's more like some of the smartwatches. Like this one here has 2 displays. It's sandwiched on top of each other. So it actually has a liquid crystal display on top, and then it has the OLED underneath. So when it's always on, it's always on using the LCD display, which is liquid crystal, and then it turns on the OLED when you tap it.
So it tells you that
Apple's
time and essential information like that, and not the apps. So when you turn on the phone, then the apps kicks in with the new. Okay.
Yeah. So if anything, this is probably the most innovative part of the iPhone this year is that screen is that versus Samsung, who focused on having different form factors, right? Apple has focused on the display utility while it is large and open on your your desk.
To be honest with you, I don't mind the screen going black. I know that it's saving battery, right? I know the low power one still. Yeah.
In this case, they've given you the best of both worlds. So you have the clock on there. You know that your phone is still alive. You have notifications that keep coming up. And obviously, because Apple is concerned with privacy, they probably have a way for you to select which notifications are allowed on the front of the screen, just like you would with any privacy related stuff. And that's interesting. It's an interesting technology that doesn't exactly take the thunder away from the folding form factor, because that is specifically utility, interesting, innovative, all of the above.
Like you said before in our Samsung show, the foldable phones is so distinctive, and it's renowned to be from Samsung. So if anyone tries to copy create a foldable phone, they get the idea from where? Samsung.
So in this case, Apple has made it bigger and a little bit more useful, but it's not much different than what we've done before. So if anything, it's more of an iteration, which is fair.
Okay. All right. So moving on to cameras, they have a new 48 megapixel camera with quad pixel sensors and a larger 65%, sensor. It's huge.
Now, where have we seen that before? Where have we seen a quad pixel camera that's 48 quad pixel camera that's 48 megapixels?
Tell me.
I think a certain Korean company has done that 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago. Okay.
Yeah. It started with the S20?
Yeah.
Now we're at S22 Ultra, right?
Yeah, Ultra, yeah.
So what has Apple done different? Let's focus on the positives. What has Apple done differently?
Apple, no, I mean, the same features. I mean, 2 times better low light, the new photo lens, but now it's 2 times, not just 3 times. I don't know why they created it 2 times, but anyway, new 2 times photo lens. But the same 48 megapixel can do Pro RAW now. So
yes,
you can get super high res photos. You can import that into their, whatever Apple uses for their photo editing stuff. Then you can use that. That's purely Pro RAW.
I think Lightroom will support it. So if you have Lightroom on your iPhone, you can edit that, and with 1 terabyte options in storage.
Oh yeah,
okay,
yeah. That's true. That's true. The new 12 megapixels ultra wide camera. That's something new. And but now the LED for the flash is 9 LEDs, and it gives you more of a dispersed kind of flash rather than a focused flash. Whereas before,
otherwise
so it gives you more of a more of a dynamic kind of footage. But
but can I ask you?
Go ahead.
Do you actually use the flash on your iPhone?
I don't at all.
Do you know anyone that takes photos that actually uses the flash on the iPhone?
No, I don't think so either.
See,
I just use the flashlight as a light. The LED.
I use the flashlight on my devices. I never use the flash in my images, right?
No,
because it can have certain amateurish effects.
Yeah, it just
hopefully this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but
I haven't seen it either. I just don't use the flash because it looks so bad. Right?
It does.
I mean, if you're in the dark, I would rather not use the flash and make it look the way it does.
Yeah.
I know that people do use the flash, but there's a certain not so great quality of it, no matter what you do to it.
Yeah.
Flashes need to be big physically in order for them to look good. There's no way that pinpoint is going to look.
It doesn't work that way. But it has all the same features as what we mentioned on the iPhone 14, including crash detection, the new action mode for the camera, video, and things like that. So it has all of those new features in the iPhone 14 Pro. So any more comments then regarding the Pro?
I do.
Go ahead.
One comment. One big one.
What's that?
What the heck do they mean by all-day battery life? We discussed battery life in the Samsung event because it was an important part of owning a folding device, because there are certain inherent issues with having a smaller battery, right? Yeah. So we found out, and just as an update, the Samsung Z Flip 4 has up to 16 hours of measured battery life. It has just finished optimization. I get 16 hours.
You get 16 hours on that?
I get 16 hours.
Like from
it's finally grafted.
From a full charge.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's really good.
Yeah. Well,
so what does Apple mean? How is this measured? Is it like when Amazon tries to, it's like when you talk to Amazon, you ask them, how much money did this division make? It's like, we don't have any comments. And then the reporter goes, well, how many Bezos numbers is it? Is it 5 Bezos, 6 Bezos? It's like they've made up this
thing.
Like all day battery life. Well, does that mean it's
here we go? I have
days?
I have a Apple 13 Pro. Okay, so when I first had it, I charged it once, full charge, and it lasted me about 9 hours. All right, so it's been a year now. And I'll get only probably 6 or 7 hours, and I'm constantly using it, right? So when they say all day battery life, you're looking at probably around about 9 to 10 hours. I doubt if it'll give you 12, to be honest with you.
So the day that they want you to, I guess the day is the work day.
A work day, yeah.
A work day of battery life. So not all day, work day.
All work day.
All work day.
An all work day, yeah.
Oh my God. So have we gone mad here? Why can we not quantify these things?
It's because Apple is telling you how you should run your day. And an all day work day is around about 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah, but that's not an Apple work day. They have to live at they want everyone to come back to the spaceship and live there. And make Apple things.
That's why they have chargers in every power port, like on the wall.
Oh my God.
With a USB-C connector. Connected to their lightning.
I know they're hesitant to release numbers, but at least they can define what the day is.
Yeah.
Give me a story. It's like, okay, when you wake up, you shouldn't have, that means when you wake up in the morning, you shouldn't have to charge your phone until at least after dinner. That makes sense to me. All day battery life.
Yeah,
Clearly, based on your experience, Winston, that just means a work day.
A work day, seriously. Because if I wake up in the morning at, say, 7 a.m., I will need to start recharging, top up, around about 4 p.m., 5 p.m. max. Okay. Because it'll start going down like 10%. And that's like...
Jesus. So these new phones are... The 13 series was very power hungry.
Yeah, it is.
So... hopefully, with the 4-nanometer process in the A16, maybe there's a chance for it to match the worst.
That's right. Like at the end of the day, it's also down to the size, right? Like you said, your Z Flip 4 is compact, small. So you can only fit a certain amount of battery in there. Was it 3700 millimeters?
3600 milliamp hour. That's it.
On this iPhone, I think it's... I think 4,000 something. I can't remember what. Yeah. But, the bigger the phone, of course, the bigger battery. So the Pro Max, for example, has a larger battery, so it gives you more hours of usage, and the same with any larger screen phones. So for this phone, Pro 6.1 inch, you're looking at about, like I said, probably 8 hours of full usage.
Wow.
On the Pro version, Pro Max version, of course, the 6.7 inch screen, bigger phone, will probably give you about 12 hours, I guess, max.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so it's relative. I mean, I'm absolutely smitten with the amount of battery life I get here because it has 1.25 screens. It has this one as well too.
Yeah, that's right.
So I mean,
I like that. Just the little animation there, pretty cool.
Yeah. And just to give you an update, if you tap this with the screen closed, it does not work. Just so you know.
All right. Okay.
For payment, you wanted to know that was the update from the last thing that you asked about. Does not work.
That's all right. I mean, at the end of the day, you probably want to see which card you're using, right? Because you could have like multiple cards in there. So
you have to also authenticate as well too. So it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like your fingerprint. So
price wise, $9.99 from $9.99. It didn't say how much for the other sizes. So from $9.99, September the 9th pre-order. And also $10.99 for the larger Pro Max version. Again, they have the 1 terabyte version. I think last time it was like $15.99 for the 1 terabyte version.
Sounds about right.
About right. Pre-orders again, September the 9th, and available from October the 16th onwards. So it's about a month and a bit before you actually get it. So I'm guessing they're rushing this out, this announcement, this event.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because normally when they do an announcement, like an event,
it's available the next day.
Yeah, usually available next day or maybe maximum 2 weeks. But this one's a month and a bit.
So supply chain is definitely catching up to Apple as well too. And keep in mind these are Canadian prices, so we might be a little bit behind in Canada, or we might be a little bit behind in Canada. So keep that in mind as well too. That we're quoting U.S. prices, not Canadian prices. Yeah. In case you're listening in Canada.
All right. So
interesting.
Did you hear that? iPhone 14.
And did you hear that last thing that Tim Cook talked about with the U.S. pricing?
You get like $1,000 off. Yeah, $1,000 off for your old trade-in. So I'm not sure which model. I'm guessing
probably a Pro Max.
Pro Max, and it's got to be Pro Max. It's got to be 13. Yeah, up to. It says up to. So my one will probably the Pro Max 13, the Pro 13 I got. So this will probably get me, I don't know, 800, if that. But it's not the big model though. This is the standard 256. So I'm guessing probably less than that, 500-600. So the deals are not as good. The deals is not as good as Samsung's, by the way. I know that.
Yes, I mean, I was pretty happy. I'm very happy with my purchase. I think it's gonna I'm so happy with this phone. I wish this phone I got it last year because I would be so happy. But this makes me happy.
I mean, to be honest with you, your Z Flip 4 will probably you'll be good enough to go over like 2 years, right? At least
this time. Yes, because the Flip 3 didn't have the battery life that I needed.
Right.
As someone that uses their phone day in, day out, I have to do a lot of things on it, and I can't afford to have the battery dying on me like that. Yeah. With this particular handset, I'm on it all day long, and it doesn't even matter. I don't even care because it is the battery life is so good. Samsung really knocked it out with all the years. So it'll be interesting to see what they do next year, because I don't think I want to change phones now. So unless Samsung does something amazing, I'm staying put.
Ah, okay. So the question is, will you be getting an iPhone? Probably not, right? You?
No, I can't. Okay, so it comes down to form factor, and I think that at this point, I have now resigned to the fact that a 6.7-inch phone in my pocket is not something I want.
Right.
Period.
Okay.
I like the form factor of the foldables, and I think that's where I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
I am hoping that Apple does something innovative. Whatever the heck that is, maybe it's like a rolling scroll or something like that, but that it would have to be something that crazy for me to take a second look.
Apple won't do anything crazy.
They will not do something.
They let you guys, Samsung or LG, whatever, do the craziest things and see how market reception, and then if it's okay, they might take a bit, and improve on that. But
that seems to be the way.
Yeah. Will I keep getting an iPhone 14? No, because I got a 13 Pro, so that's good enough for me for another 2 years, I guess. So,
and you don't need satellite. Do you really need satellite?
If you have something like a 12 or below, then possibly. If your contract's up, why not, right?
Yeah.
So,
perhaps.
But perhaps.
Yeah.
All right.
And even then, we're looking at phones that are refinements. They don't look any different. Like, what are you getting? Slightly bigger screen, satellite, crash.
It looks the same.
A little bit snappier.
Okay, moving on to the next product is the Apple Watch 8 or Series 8, they call it. I've only recently got myself an Apple Watch 7, right? So I have it right here. Yep. This is Apple Watch 7. Mainly because I've seen some really good, really funky aftermarket accessories for this phone. It makes it really look cool. So I haven't had it yet, so I'm waiting for it to get delivered. Basically, it's an watch case that makes it looks like a premium kind of accessory. But anyway, I'm going to get one of those and see how it goes. And then, having said that, the watch is, it's one of the most sold smartwatches globally. So that's an interesting kind of fact that I didn't know. It is.
It kind of makes sense. Yeah, it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because every Apple does a really great job of attachment rate. So basically, what you do is if you buy an iPhone, and there's millions of them out there, you want to match it with a watch, a smartwatch. Yeah. None of the other smartwatches have access to that walled garden, right? Because all the features are in Apple Watches. Yeah. So the only way to get those features, the only way to have the coolest features, just like with Samsung, but a little bit less so, is to have an iPhone with an Apple Watch.
It's all the ecosystem that you're going into. There's the the App Store and things like that. So I suppose it did something right there. So okay, let's take a look at the Apple Watch 8. What do you actually think of it itself?
The series, I think it's definitely it's a continuation, a refinement. I didn't see anything really hugely crazy. I mean, finally, they talk about battery life, and I think that's something that's a little bit more important for watches, mainly because people don't want to not wear it, because once you stop wearing a watch, you stop wearing it, and then you forget to wear it, and it's a pain in the butt. Like, for example, this Android Wear OS watch, I stopped wearing it more often than not because the battery life was so terrible.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So you need a watch that lasts a bit longer than your usual, say, 12 hours, right? Because you want to be able to say sleep with it. In fact, because a lot of people now with
sleep tracking.
Yeah. Sleep tracking, exactly.
Yeah.
So screen size, same size. But they've got some new watch faces, but you can download them anyway. The other thing was swim proof and crack resistance. So
is that, what does that mean exactly? Like, is it because it's got the, is it a stronger casing, or is it because of the sapphire crystal? Because sapphire crystal has been on all the Apple Watches for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Like, what's happening?
I guess it's more, I guess the same thing. They have the aluminum casing, and they have the premium stainless steel, as well as titanium models. But I guess the swim proof is the main one, where you'd be able to do more sports with it, right? So if you're doing a triathlon, or whether you're doing some swimming, then I guess it protects it, I guess, waterproof and stuff like that.
I love how Apple avoids saying the IPX rating, because IPX XX gives you the level of dustproofness and waterproofness. So
yeah.
even
It's certified,
here,
right? Yeah.
it's certified, right? Are they saying that the Apple Watches are not certified, but are they guaranteed?
Again, it's Apple's standard, right? Whatever Apple is saying it's waterproof, that's how they. So normally, like if you look at water resistance, right? You usually say 50 meters or 100 meters, right? Or 200 meters. That's the kind of standard that people go by globally on like watches. But Apple for this one is 40 meters, not 50, not 100. It's 40. So when they
specifically
say
40,
it's 40. That's not a standard. They just say it's 40.
It's not.
All right, here we go. It has all the same health monitors, of course. Blood, oxygen, and heartbeat and stuff like that. ECG and stuff like that. So, and a new temperature sensor.
Yes, and they've actually found partners to actually give them something to do with it at the launch, whereas Samsung couldn't figure out if they could get any partners to come on board to give them something useful to measure with it. And I think this comes down to specifically because, like it seems very useful for women's health. Yeah.
Cycle tracking for women, they call it. And it's to do with the ovulation and menstrual cycle and things like that.
Yeah.
Which I think, if you look at the American market where women's health are quite up there with a lot of the main industries and stuff like that. Not so much for Asia, right? So in Samsung, of course, they're Korean, and I guess they didn't have that data for monitoring women, things like that. They're not as but anyway, saying that, they gathered all the data and they've actually managed to get this cycle tracking for women with the health temperature sensor to monitor the we call it hormones, kind of, make your body heat up, lower temperature, stuff like that. So how's that to track it?
They've done some good work here, and the Apple Watch actually has two temperature sensors to kind of remove the outside influence. It has a sensor that's right underneath the glass up top, but it also has the skin sensor, which is closest to your body. So using the data that's from outside, it removes any external bias. I don't believe the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 series has this, so that's actually a very unique way of making sure that the accuracy is there. Probably also why Samsung had to find people that were willing to work under these conditions, because external influence is very important. Like, let's just say that you're in the Arctic. You have to be able to remove the fact that it's really cold outside, but what's your skin temperature? So somewhere in between, that's the real temperature.
Right? It's like noise cancelling, right? They have several microphones to cancel the ambient noises and stuff like that.
You're right. It's exactly like that. And I think that maybe perhaps as a medical type device, maybe Samsung couldn't get anyone to use only this part of the information to give you this type of tracking. But again, maybe it's just a software update away to allow this. They didn't say everything. They just said that there was a temperature sensor on there. They didn't point to anything else. I know that in the diagram, they showed it underneath, but maybe it's a different type of sensor. Maybe it does actually measure inside and outside. Who knows? Speaking of software updates, it appears that on the the Apple Watch Series 8, you've also got the low power mode, which is 36 hours. This is actually very similar to the Galaxy Watch 5 series. 36 hours is about average. I get about that for my watch as well too, in non-low power mode. So I can run all day at 36 hours. So it seems that the battery is more or less the same size as the original series in the Watch Series 8, because when you update it, apparently there's a new 60-hour mode.
60-hour mode.
Yeah. So that might be something that's coming. I don't know if it's only specifically for the upcoming watch, which we'll talk about in a sec. But who knows? Like, that'd be interesting. It's the same SoC.
Of course, with all the health data, Apple's kind of has ensured us, so your data is safe and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, with Apple security, I think they've always been top notch on their security. So I'm happy with that. So that's pretty cool.
So battery life. security, LTE models, roaming costs.
Oh, yeah, roaming, international roaming.
Yeah.
So that's included now if you want to do that. So I think you can get the ones with cellular, right, or GPS. So the one I've got is just GPS. That's all I need anyway.
Same. It's just
The
Bluetooth, right?
Yeah, and you got ones with the cellular, so you can stand alone. You don't even need to take your iPhone with you or what.
That's right.
Phone. Just use that. You can make calls and things like that. So the cellular, again, a little bit pricier, but we'll talk about that in a minute. International roaming, which means you can then get providers to get you a pretty decent deal
for more money.
For more money. And it's available in both stainless steel and, of course, aluminium. The other thing was it has also the crash detection as well.
Yeah, that's a very important feature that they're. You know what? To be perfectly honest, it's probably a more useful feature on the person
on the
because
watch.
What has been marketed the most is that locally there's TELUS Health Services, and one of the services that they offer is that for elderly people, if you if you get them an Apple Watch with the crash detection, it's part of the service that you can actually detect a fall, and then they can decide whether or not to call for help or whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's a feature that they market heavily in Canada on one of our big three providers, right? So I think that's probably the most important feature to carry forward. And if they've made it better somehow in this iteration, then all the more for it. They've also got the crash detection in car. Now, your iPhone usually is in the car with you, to be perfectly honest. It's not going to be separated. So it sounds like to me that the two devices actually connect. Yeah. So they link up and figure out what's going on as well, too, because you could also be thrown from the vehicle.
That's true.
So having that capability to be able to call for help, if you are in that, the ability to do that is actually very important as well, too.
Yeah.
Because people have died being thrown from their vehicles and they can't find them.
Yeah, because they could be off the bushes or on the side somewhere where, he's unconscious or he or she is unconscious, and then the only thing you could track is if they have that watch with them. And you can,
So if it has LTE, it's calling from a separate number. If it's in the car, it's calling from another number. So the vehicle is taken care of as well as the driver or whoever's been thrown from the vehicle. So it's actually, to me, any type of safety device, anything extra that doesn't cost me a lot of extra money, I think is worth having along. Samsung watches obviously don't have this right now, but and it's definitely more complex than just a software update because of all the sensors, machine learning, barometer that detects the blast of the
airbag and stuff like that
everywhere.
Yeah.
So very complex.
Before we move on to the something interesting, which I thought was quite interesting, let's look at the price. So Apple Watch Series 8, $399 for the GPS version and $499 for the cellular version. Again, September the 16th is available to buy. I think there's pre-orders. I think it's pre-orders now, but then September the 16th is when it's available. And the Watch SE, which is a kind of like cut-down version of it for parents and kids and grandparents and things like that. $249 for the GPS and $299 for the cellular. So that's not a
what
bad
I
price.
thought was hilarious about that is that it showed an image of the phone pairing all the kids' watches.
Oh, I mean,
there were 4 watches there, right? So that's $1,000 of watches US for your kids. Like, what kind of rich family does that, right? I mean, talk about extravagant.
$249 each, yes, $1,000. And you can actually track them. You can track them now. You can track them.
I know,
and find
but
out where you
I
are.
can't even get my kids to keep their $69 Fitbits on their wrists. I give them a $250 Apple Watch. It's probably going to be in some bear's belly somewhere or dropped off on the side of the road. I mean, I as much as I like the idea, I think that they kind of marketed that out of the price range of a lot of families. But unless the
grandparents, I think, would be nice though, because I mean,
potentially,
I mean, they especially when 4 years ago when my grandma passed away, she had Alzheimer's, so bless her. And she would go disappearing. And we had no idea where she'd go. And we just get a phone call from police. Are you Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so's family members? Yeah. So now with my grandma wearing, say, a watch, or parents, grandma, parents, they wear a watch, you can be able to track them, let's see where they are.
there are pros and cons as well too, but again, that service is marketed specifically to seniors.
Yeah,
not for. I mean, they can't afford to keep losing these watches. They're very expensive, kids. Yes, they're durable, but holy crap! One more thing to add about the Watch Series 8 is that Fitness Plus is available for free for the first 4 months. I don't know if that's a US only offer, but that's something worth mentioning if you are buying your first Watch Series 8 as a fitness device, because it does have all the bells and whistles for that. Watch SE also a good choice, right? It's cheap. It's probably the easiest way to get yourself into a watch with a phone purchase.
That's true. All right. Now, Apple Watch Ultra for the extreme sport. My God, that part I really enjoyed. I didn't care for the phone. I didn't care for anything else. That part, I thought, wow. This thing is titanium case. It's flat and it protects the screen because it's just flat. No curve.
Before we get to that.
Yeah.
49 millimeters.
Yeah, 49. It's huge. It's like huge. This is a 45, right? So 45. This is a 45. I can zoom it in.
Is it 45?
This is 45. 45. This is like Watch 7, right?
Okay.
So now 49 would like stick out that. It's huge.
It's a humongous watch.
It's humongous watch. Yeah. But again, brightness 2000 nits. Up to 2000 nits, because if you're in any environment, like for example deserts, or if you're in the ocean, because you get a lot of reflection from the sun, 2000 nits in the brightness, that's good. 3 mics it comes with and 2 speakers, right? So that's the thing when you talked about where if you have the cellular version, which it's only cellular version, by the way.
It's only cellular. Yeah.
So you'll be able to make calls. Imagine if you're in an Arctic environment where there's too much wind, or even an ocean environment where there's too much wind. You can still make calls. They can still hear you because you've got the 3 mics to, cancel the ambient noises. 2 speakers is loud enough for if you're I think they have 600 meters or something or further, be able to find out where you are. That big
180 decibels.
Yeah, it's loud.
It's alarm. That's not the speakers because that would kill them, but 180 decibel, that's enough. I don't know if that's going to cause an avalanche or something like that. Maybe a bad idea.
But it's
very
loud.
Noisy.
Yeah.
Noisy
It'll probably
alarm.
scare off the bears, I'm telling you.
It might attract the bears to you instead. You ever thought about that?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Dual GPS. So it gives you more accurate kind of readings where you are.
L1 and L5 GPS. They claim it's the most accurate GPS on any smartwatch. Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe.
We'll see.
There's a programmable action button. So if different sports or different activities, you can program the button to do certain things. For example, if you're diving, if you're mountain climbing, if you're in the middle of the desert or in the ocean, that push of a button, you can push that button to do certain things. So, different sports, different activities. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. They've even designed the action button and also the crown to work with gloves.
Yeah. So if you're wearing gloves, especially if you're in the Arctic or anywhere, you can just move the crown easier because if you're wearing gloves. New compass with new waypoints. They call them waypoint sets.
Yeah.
Right. So it allows you then to track where you are from the distance of where you left your waypoint. So it's good for hiking and things like that as well.
See, that's not a new feature, but I'm just wondering if I'll have to try this out. It's I have the route feature, so I can actually turn that on. You probably have it as well too, but you turn it on, you can actually route.
I'm not sure. I think I've got the compass on the Watch 7, but it hasn't got the waypoint settings. I think it's a new thing for this watch because of the extreme thing that they do, and Wayfinder. Wayfinder.
So you can track your way back.
Watch face, they call it. So they have the new kind of apps for that kind of stuff.
I gotta hand it to them. It is a lot easier to use if you have that all set up the way it does.
But this watch is crazy. It's got this new night mode. So in red, so it gives you, because the blue light issue to your eyes, right? So it tones down to the red if you're in the middle of the night, so it's easy to look at the watch.
I'm surprised it's not automatic because you actually have to rotate the crown to get to that mode. So I would figure that it would have an ambient sensor to detect the light and turn it into that automatically.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, it could. Mind you, if you're diving, there's no light, right, or not that much light. That could, It's maybe set in the settings. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because when you dive, it actually goes into the dive mode automatically
Oh,
based on the video.
That's right. Yeah.
But what confused me was that when they mentioned the night mode, you actually had to activate it manually. So I was wondering what the reasoning for that was versus the water mode, because you have to have high contrast in the ocean because there's nothing down there. But why wouldn't you just, like your Google Maps, to change when you're in the car, do the same for the watch when you're outside? There must be a reason. I don't know what that would be.
But 36 hours battery life, so it's not bad. And up to 60 hours, they say, for a new software update coming in later this year. So that's interesting. Again, new Oceanic Plus app for the divers. So like I said, it's got all the water pressure, all the how many meters you're diving. What's that thing that they need to do with decompression?
Yeah, so it will show you you're going too fast. You'll slow you down. You can look down. So that's very important stuff. That's actually for a lot of divers, especially amateurs, from limited knowledge that I have, it's very difficult for them to do these calculations and then come up and then patiently wait. The watch does it for them. So you're going to, like, if we see a lot more watches out on divers' wrists, I think we're going to get a lot more safe dives as a result of this information, provided that it is as good as Apple says it is.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm a little concerned because like some of the extreme kind of activities you have, like, whether you're in the Arctic, in the ocean, and so on, I see the actual watch is not touching their skin. That's the thing.
Yeah. It's on something. Like,
it's
how
on
do you
something.
measure my heart
so
rate?
how the hell do you measure? You're like, well, that's something that you need to figure out. I don't know.
We'll have to see what they say, or maybe there's an external accessory that they're not telling us about, right? Because it is the watch Ultra, right? What does that mean?
Ultra.
It is Ultra.
Have they ever called one of their iPhones Ultra? I don't think they have they?
No, they've not gotten there yet.
Oh, the Ultra.
Maybe next iteration.
So, So this Ultra new wording that Apple is using is kind of new to them. Okay, so
probably because Samsung already took Watch Pro. No. Actually, there's a reason. LG has a patent or a copyright for Watch Pro.
Okay.
So Apple can't use Watch Pro because there's a watch that LG used to make that was already Watch Pro. So by having the Watch Ultra, they get around that. So it's probably not an Apple choice to go Watch Ultra. It was only because someone else already had the trademark, and that's how.
Yeah. So the word Ultra, Samsung uses it as well, don't they?
Samsung does not. Use it right now? I don't think. S21. No.
S22. What's the big one that they have? S22 isn't called Ultra?
No,
it's not S22 Pro. It's not S22 Pro, is it?
No.
No.
Anyway. I think it sounds like a Samsung thing to do.
I know. Anyway, Ultra.
You know what? You're right. It might be a Samsung thing to do.
Yeah.
It's Samsung. It's Samsung Ultra.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's what I thought. Okay,
we've heard it from somewhere. But like this is also how Galaxy Watch 5 Pro got away with it, because they put the number there.
A 5.
Watch 5 Pro.
Right. I get you. Yeah.
So they can't just call it Watch Pro.
Price wise, this watch is not cheap for a smartwatch, but still, it's $799. US dollars for GPS per cellular, so cellular, right?
Yeah.
Available for September the 23rd. So, if
is that expensive, Winston? Like, you're a watch guy. Like, is like a Submariner or something like that, like a high-end dive watch. Would this be expensive? Like $799 seems US seems cheap.
Yeah, if you're into that kind of like high-end kind of sports activities watch and stuff like that, so $799 isn't that pricey. Pricey for the normal consumer. So if you're an average Joe, you want to get a nice smartwatch, you don't really need an Apple Watch Ultra. Come on, some of the stuff you do, you're not going to go scuba diving or up the mountains or anything like that, or climbing. You don't really need this. But I've seen people with, for example, the Tag Heuer smartwatch. They're 1,500. I've seen Bugatti does one as well.
Yeah,
and they're on about $2,000. Of course, you got the premium luxury watches, such as Rolex with the submariners, things like that. That's 8,000, 9,000.
Yeah.
But those are proven like dive watches. Timepieces. I mean, they are solid, and they're worth money like 5-10 years down the line.
Yeah.
This thing is a smartwatch. It probably lasts like 3 years max, right?
Yeah, so, they refer to it as a dive computer. So I don't know. Like, computer, yeah. I mean, is it like, what does a dive computer cost? Like, is this a separate accessory? Idea. So if someone can let us know in the comments about diving and what a dive computer does, let us know. Maybe this watch is actually the best value ever, or maybe it's kind of overpriced. But let us know. We have no opinion on this because it seems like the right price for all these features, but it might not be the right value. So, pop us a note. Educate us, please.
I do know Garmin makes a lot of the sports activity watches, smart watches, and they're quite expensive as well. They're looking at $500, $600 even for those. So if you look at that kind of category, then this watch it's at $800, right? So a little bit on the high end, higher range of the price, but still competitive or competes with Garmin, things like that. So it is a watch to consider if you want those kind of extreme activities. So.
And one thing that you won't care about because you're already spending $799 on an Apple Watch is the fact that the old straps don't work because they have this new mechanism on it. It's hooked. Yeah. So you get 3 new watch straps. You get 3 versions of it. There is a Velcro version. There is one that's using silicone. And then there's one that uses, it looks like a climbing harness where you clip it on with a titanium hook. So, 3 different uses, 3 different watch bands. I don't know if you would buy all 3 of them, but, like chances are if you're a diver or you're out there person, maybe you have some options there, but your old watch straps doesn't look like it'll work at all because of how it's connected. It is definitely different body size, non-standard. So we'll have to wait and see.
49 millimeters.
49 millimeters is huge. Wow.
It's like this.
Yeah, it's like having that. And speaking of, I think we're segueing over pretty quickly, right, Winston?
Yeah, AirPods Pro. They haven't got a number on it, or they haven't named it else differently. It's still named as AirPods Pro. I've had AirPods Pro for a while, for about 2 years. They're great for listening to music, but they suck at receiving calls because the other side can't hear me at all. And if you're in a loud train, even if you have the anti-noise cancelling, that's only for hearing, not for the speech, for the voice. So I'm wondering if Apple's actually improved on that. There's no mention on that. But the new AirPod Pro look the same. Similar. Only with a couple of new features, And what do you think of them, Stephen?
Well, it looks like it's definitely an improvement, just like the Galaxy Buds 2 were improved upon with the Galaxy 2 Pro. One thing as a Galaxy Buds 2 owner, which I hate, unfortunately, because they don't fit me, and is just the fact that Apple was smart enough to have their Find My Device set up to actually ring the case or individual earbuds. Yeah. So let's just give you a scenario. If I lost my earbuds, if I lost my Galaxy Buds 2 in the case, I would never find them again because the case has no way to signal me. It also goes off the grid when you close the lid. So if I had these on a shelf and I never see them again, and both pods were inside the case, they would disappear from Earth completely. I would actually have to drop the case and lose both earbuds individually for me to even find them. And then I would lose the case. So what good is that? Yeah. Apple's setup is all 3 pieces are individually trackable. Even if the earbuds are inside the case, because there's a speaker on the bottom of the AirPods Pro that will detect and tell you where it is. It is so useful. So Samsung, learn from Apple on this one. It is good. It's a good idea.
Yeah. So this is the original AirPods Pro, and if you look at the back of it, and let me just focus it. You can see, focus. Hello. All right, here we go. At the back is just one Lightning connector. The new one has a speaker, and again for tracking purposes, and also it has a little hook thing for your lanyard, right? And the other good thing about the new AirPods Pro is that you can do wireless Qi charging, whereas before I can only charge this with a lightning cable. Now you can just plonk this onto your Qi wireless charging port.
So many. That's great utility, because everything, even your watch charger, will work on this, based on what Apple has told us.
Yeah. So new H2 chip. I'm not sure what that will improve on, but low distortion audio driver. So it gives you kind of, again, more bass, I guess.
Amplifier.
Personalized spatial audio. So whereas you have normal spatial audio, you couldn't really program them because it was just sound going around you. Now you can have personalized ones. For example, if you're in a cinematic kind of feel, or in a theater, or if you're in a living room or hall, to give you that kind of audio kind of vibe experience. Noise cancelling, anti-noise cancelling for up to 2 times. When I say Apple, Apple says 2 times or 3 times or 4 times. What the hell does 2 times noise cancelling mean?
What are you canceling, Apple? Tell me what you're canceling.
2 times cancelling.
Are you canceling the person that I'm talking to? Or what are you canceling here? You quantify this for me, Apple.
What is 2 times?
In general, if it's removing that much more noise, what is noise? That would be my first question. And what are you canceling? That would be my second question. If you're canceling twice the amount of things that I heard before, that means that I'm in a white noise room. Like I can't hear anything. Am I deaf now? Like, what does that mean?
But it can be dangerous if you're out and about.
Yeah,
right? You
exactly.
want to be able to hear background noises, cars coming, or I don't know, anything.
Or the person I'm talking to. Like, what if I'm on what if someone's yelling at me and I can't hear them? Right? Does it? Cancel
like an emergency
voice?
call or something like that. Hey, get down and stuff like that. You listen to your AirPods and you got this 2 times noise cancelling.
Yeah, 2 times deader. 2 times.
Oh, crazy.
More accident prone.
One thing I like about the new AirPods is that before, for volume control, you have to use your iPhone, right?
That's right.
Now you can scroll up and down with the touch control, they call it.
It's a capacitive on the stem. They've extended
you just
the capacitive surface.
you stroke it. You stroke it up or down.
Just
to get
stroke
the volume.
it until it feels good. Where did they get this stuff? But no, to be perfectly honest, that's actually a good way to take care of it. The only downside is that if you touch your earpods or AirPods by accident, you could turn the volume up and down, or you could even send the volume so high that you have to pull them out of your ears. I don't know yet. We'd have to try them out.
Yeah. 6 hours battery life, so it's not too bad. But then
it's okay.
It can give you 30 hours if you put them into the charger. So I think they've improved on the battery on the charging case. So I
think that's middle of the road. To be perfectly honest, I've heard I've heard others to be higher. So it's average. So if everything else is good, average listening time. It's Qi charging now, so it's a little bit more convenient. Speaking of, like the fit, which I hate on the buds too, and most other earbuds because they don't offer enough sizing, and I end up having to buy custom ones, is that they at least put 4 different ear tip sizes in there, all the way down to extra small.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is great.
So you can get that perfect fit in there. So,
exactly.
I mean, will I get them? So I've got the original Pro. I probably won't get them until these break, or if I use them. So if you haven't had the AirPod Pro experience, I would suggest you to get them because they are quite nice. And $249, September the 16th pre-order.
Pretty average price.
September 23rd.
Probably a little bit more expensive than other earbuds because $249 Canadian gets you a really decent set of anything, right? So these are on the higher end. This is probably in the Sony S-Link category of the high end. But I think the S-Links actually have a lot better battery life. A couple other things as well too. Just as an AirPod user, asking out loud, do you use the SharePlay feature?
No.
Okay. Well, SharePlay is now at 48 kilohertz.
Okay.
Matters.
Okay.
So proprietary standard with no wires, you can now share with someone else, whatever you're listening.
That's true.
That's kind of neat. The transparency mode is actually apparently better. I mean, it's adaptive to protect your ears, so you can use them like earplugs when you're outside. So it'll adapt to loud noises down to a certain level. which I think is a bit of a safety device, because let's just say that you're walking by a jackhammer, you're walking by something very loud. It will protect your ears. It will actually make it better. But at the same time, though, it will also pick up voices. So if you're at Starbucks and you've got them in your ears, then you see the barista saying your name wrong again. At least you know.
That's true. That's true.
You know, so there are some good things. Some definitely just an update for me, though. I do appreciate, as a Samsung user, the better device finding stuff.
Oh yeah,
Find My Device works so much better on this.
Yeah, I mean, Apple have really integrated all their products into the ecosystem, from the phone to the AirPods to the watch. Everything seems. I think one thing I do like about Apple is that they've seamlessly integrate all of their products so that it's all kind of like integrated. So it's really good. I like that.
And one more thing,
problem I don't like is the way that they force you to kind of go into that system. And that's it. Once you're in there, it has to be something phenomenal, like your flip phone, to get me out of it. So. Yeah. Well,
they're also offering more customization, like the earbuds for sizes. But one thing that I picked up on the announcement is the fact that in iOS 16, you can actually create an ear profile with the iPhone. Yeah. So you can actually make it so that it's customized for you. So spatial audio is one of those things where you talk about it, and it's like, oh yeah, spatial audio, that's great. The Galaxy Buds 2 Pro actually have the ability to record audio as you're walking around your kitchen. So that was a feature that we talked about in the announcement. I didn't get the Buds 2 Pro, so I don't know if that's a true thing or not. But having the ability to customize the experience on another device actually would be quite interesting, because then you have the same experience of me walking by my blender and teaching you how to sizzle the bacon. I mean, that would be really immersive, right? Because if you're watching a video, the video can be horrible, but as long as the sound is good, man, it's a great experience.
Yeah. It's like imagine going into a you've been to those stand-up comedian shows, and you got the audience clapping and taking from one side. You could be focusing on this audience here, this guy, and putting an audience on stage and so on. Yeah, and you can hear the audience going from clapping on one side to the other side, and you get that immersive experience. You can't really watch or have that if it's just a plain kind of what do you call it, the spatial audio and stuff like that. Without that, you won't be able to get that.
This is more personal. It's not like it's even better than 7.1 surround or speakers, right? Because it's personalized to you. The way that Apple's done it is ear tips, great. They fit my ears perfectly. Spatial audio, it's taking a picture of my head. So now it knows exactly how to get everything to move with me. I mean, this is fun. Like, this is great. Yeah. To be perfectly honest, most people don't want huge speakers all over their house unless they have the space for that. I mean, it's more comfortable to listen to things when you're listening to them on speakers, obviously. But sometimes you just want better or different.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So, any final comments before we close up?
For me, I think that this is definitely a refinement tour. This is definitely not an improvement tour. I wish they would tell us more about all-day battery life and what that means. I mean, can you define that? Maybe you can tell me that it has 5 apples of battery life or 8 apples of battery life. Make up your own scale, but give me a reference as to what that means. But overall, I can't see myself purchasing anything like this size anymore. I'm just too spoiled having a small phone. But I really do wish Apple well on the Ultra. I think that for me, the Ultra is one of the flagship devices this time. I know there's going to be a lot of people that have a lot of money to burn that aren't professionals. They're just going to buy it just to have that watch. Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
I know that a lot of the refinements in the faster processor on the new iPhone 14 Pro series is going to create a lot more creative options for filmmakers that want to use the iPhone for that. However, I do have to point out that when I was watching the new stabilization mode, it does do a lot of cropping because the sensor actually moves. So it's actually using a smaller part of the sensor. Yeah. So seeing some of the footage, you can already see that with and without, it's already cropped in a certain amount. so you will have to back up a little bit more when you're framing your shots up. That would be my only criticism of it, but that's consistent with a lot of cameras as well too when you're using OIS.
Mm-hmm.
So not a big deal for me to see that. Definitely opens up your creative options, especially for action sports, skateboarding, things like that.
Definitely,
right?
definitely. Well, I'm not a huge fan of Apple, to be honest with you. Honestly, I use them, but I
You
don't
have an
like.
iPhone. What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, but I don't actually go and like queue up for them. You know, I mean, they got these new products. I'm gonna go and rush and get it. But I mean, I use the iPhone. That's about it. And you know, when it comes to the question, should I buy an iPhone 14 or 14 Pro or any of these new products? Well, you know, if you currently own an iPhone 13. Like me, then the answer, to be honest with you, no. I mean, these are incremental improvements, to be honest with you. If you own an iPhone 12 or lower, then if your contract's up, then why not? You know, go for a new iPhone. But that's something to consider. As far as the Apple Watch and the AirPods Pro, you know, I think these are great gadgets for birthdays and Christmas presents.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, having one of these in my stocking Christmas, whoa, you know, that's pretty cool. I mean, $249 for the SE version for the watch is not bad, and $399
for
the
kids. Not for kids.
not for kids. They're excessive, right? All right, so. That's it, I think. For me, that's a wrap. And if you can catch me on Instagram at Winston Chim and also at Twitter at Winston Chim. What about you, Stephen?
You can also find me at Stephen Fung on Twitter and also on Instagram. Both channels are mine. And if you want to reach out or DM me about anything, let me know. Probably won't talk about a lot about Apple stuff because I'm still evaluating some of the Samsung things that we were talking about last time. So if you do have any questions about the Galaxy Z Flip or Z Flip 4 or also the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, definitely drop me a line. I've got some more insights to share, and maybe we'll do a follow-up in the next few weeks as some of the new software updates roll out into these phones, as they often do, to see if there were any improvements and to see if maybe the battery life is holding up, because it's I'm pretty happy with it right now. Thumbs up.
Excellent. Well, you could turn me to the dark side. We'll see.
You're coming. Come.
Okay, that's all from Stephen and I this week. Please leave your comments down below and subscribe to our channel, and be sure to tune in next Wednesday for our podcast show. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.